Thanks for joining us today for a discussion of how IFS ERP helps industrial equipment manufacturers. I'm Jay Gentle. I'm the Channel Sales Director at Enterprise Consulting. Enterprise Consulting is a platinum channel partner for IFS, and this year we're celebrating 20 years of delivering services to manufacturers that use IFS in their businesses. Joining me is Bob Corrigan. Bob is VP of Established Accounts for IFS. IFS is a global ERP software company with deep solutions that support the needs of industrial equipment manufacturers. IFS helps companies across many sectors of discrete manufacturing. While there are common issues and challenges faced by all discrete manufacturing sectors, our discussion today will focus on ways IFS helps companies that manufacture machinery or equipment. So, Bob, tell us a bit about some of the key challenges you're hearing about from your customers.
All right. Yep. Thanks, Jay. So specifically in this industrial manufacturer capital equipment, we've seen, these types of issues that are listed here. And, if we start at the very top, consolidation of companies, there's been a lot of consolidation, merger, acquisition, divestitures, particularly in this area where you have large capital equipment manufacturers that are, really starting to enter into global marketplaces. So, the global competition, even the U.S. and Canadian manufacturers are, contributing to that by going into Europe and going into the Pacific Rim area. So we're seeing a lot of that consolidation and global competition kind of merging together and, creating a lot of churn within this particular sector. And, that's something that, IFS can really help with those companies manage through that when they're doing a lot of consolidations and acquisitions, mergers, disparate systems. And, a lot of it's driven by, supply chain right now, the transportation issues that people have, all of the, getting raw material or getting semi-finished goods, as you buy from other companies. Those are all driving, some of that consolidation, global competition, supply chain, they interact quite a bit with each other. And then the other thing that's happening, kind of goes with, adapting digital transformation. Really what that means is automating, putting in more robotics, putting in more automated conveyor systems, putting in welding robots, all of those types of things. Really not just for the sake of doing it, but, down below you'll see skilled labor shortage. I don't think I've talked to a single manufacturer here in the last 2 years, even before the pandemic, that, they didn't have trouble filling their skilled labor jobs that they had. And, as part of that, they're trying to automate some of their processes to eliminate the need to have to constantly, be finding people and training them and all the churn that's happening in the market right now. And then, the regulations that are out there, there continues to be more and more trade regulations that are coming in, tariffs, that affect our industrial capital equipment manufacturers, as well as, various regulations around pollutants, paint, handling of paints in their facilities and solvents. So there's just a lot of regulations that, companies have to comply with today.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, thanks for those insights. Definitely a lot of these challenges we're hearing about as well. So tell me a bit about some of the key capabilities that IFS offers to industrial equipment manufacturers.
Sure. So, taking a look at, some of the areas that these companies have in common, it does start up there with design and development. A lot of these are, configure to order or engineer to order types of equipment. And, a lot of it's built around that design and development and being able to, take those drawings and being able to do prototyping and having a system that allows you to, integrate your PLS, your, product lifecycle management system or your product development system into the actual production system is critical. And IFS has a seamless ability to deal with, engineering parts and assemblies and, true engineer to order type of solution or a configure to order type of solution. And then, a lot of it, the next step is the demand planning and fulfillment. Sometimes, trying to, do a forecast of what these types of machines, the more they're usually very long lead times on some of the pieces. So, having an idea of how many you're going to need to build if you have lead times measured in months, even some some of these capital equipment manufacturers see lead times that are measured in years. So, having the ability to really plan that and make sure you're getting it fulfilled just in time, and then integrated quality management and document control. Again, quality management is very critical, and being able to do non-conformance handling and, supplier audits, having a fully integrated quality management system, not an add-on or a bolt-in or an interface to. Same with document management, the ability to vault and control all of your document revisions and, have that controlled in a system, but yet allow people to view them whenever they need them, have them available on the shop floor as they're needed or out in the field. So, moving down to that field service product support area, a lot of capital equipment manufacturers, have to commission the equipment themselves. They have to go out and do site surveys of where they're going to install, make sure they've got all the foundations they need, the electrical they need. And then, many of them now have expanded into providing, full-blown field service capabilities, preventive maintenance on the equipment. And, that's another thing that's, fully integrated in the IFS solution. And then, of course, planning and production and scheduling and reporting is, the actual main production areas. A lot of this equipment is, assemble, but there's a lot of components that have to go into it, and making sure that you've got all of that in a good cohesive plan that's visually available is important. And then one of the things that's unique to IFS is a lot of these types of capital equipment manufacturers have a project, so they're building a new bottling line for a company, or they're building a new, a ship, or, something, a rail car, all of those types of things. They typically can do those in a project. And I'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Bob, thank you. Good insight into all areas that I know that IFS does a very good job at helping industrial equipment manufacturers. And yeah, this is a slide that speaks a little more to that project management capability. Explain a little more on that.
Yeah, I again, if you look at, larger capital equipment, being able to have a project as kind of the cohesive place to manage it and be able to keep track of, configuration. If you go down the left side, configurations and, the whole, CAD and, the information management that you're doing there, planning your resources, scheduling, doing everything from, a bidding, quoting, tendering, and then have that all be in a project so you can keep track of all of your costs, your timelines, all of your progress. And then some things that are unique to IFS is, we have that engineer along the bottom, engineering and procurement, but then we have full rental capabilities. So, renting to a project when you're trying to maintain cost, if you're renting in, cranes or something like that, or renting them out as part of, if it's a specialized installation and you need to rent that to the customer. And then offsite and modular is more and more popular, that, you're building it as much as you can in a plant in modular fashion, and then you're, assembling it in the field. And, it goes right hand in hand with that whole installation and maintenance. And everything, on this screen is in one integrated system that's the same. There's no bolt-ons, integrated pieces. Everything is in the IFS solution.
Great. Thanks, Bob. And I know that IFS also does a very good job on the whole handling of the invoicing and being able to manage, project milestones, and then all the budgets and forecasts that go with that, and different methods of managing those things.
Yeah, thanks to the full risk management with, burn downs and everything. So, yep.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, thank you. And then, another area that I know IFS does very well is working with companies that deal with a lot of the multis. Maybe you can explain what that is a little bit.
Yeah, I think, back to some of the, challenges that we see companies facing, they're dealing now in more and more countries. So they have to have support for, a lot of languages and currencies, and being able to, sell and buy in multiple currencies, being able to produce documentation in multiple languages, having people in different parts of the world using the system. And you want to be able to have one system worldwide that, everybody can use. So that's the first thing that starts it. And, as I said, there's a lot of intra-company capabilities that customers are looking for right now, where they're building sub-assemblies and they're, consolidating those and, bringing those in. So having the ability to really handle true intersite and intrasite so that you're not having to enter purchase orders and, requisitions and things between companies, let the system do that all automatically. And then, financial structures, get very complicated. So that's where you look at, how you do consolidated financials. If you have a lot of different company structures, company ownership structures, so we handle all of those. And then one of the other unique things about IFS is, being able to handle multi-mode manufacturing, meaning that we can have, make the stock, make the order, configure the order, engineer the order, and you can blend those all together in a single plant and a single line. If you want to use Kanban for, some parts and you want to have, full-blown engineer part, you can mix all those together, and IFS handles that directly throughout the entire application.
Very good. Thanks, Bob. There's a few of the customers that I know that use IFS that are industrial equipment manufacturers. Maybe you can just tell us about a couple of them, some of the things that they're doing with IFS.
Sure. I mean, you can take a look at, someone like a Merrill, in the middle on the top there. I mean, they have a very broad spectrum product line. They make large equipment for military use as well as a lot of industrial turrets and very, very large weldments. If you take a company like Holland in the upper right, they actually make machinery that goes on railroad tracks and grinds or not grinds, but actually welds railroad track and inspects it. Manitou, has a large amount of, they make equipment for agricultural. So the Gell brand is one of their brands. They also make a lot of forklifts and things like that. If you look for something a little bit different, like Cleaver Brooks there in the middle makes large boiler assemblies that go into, very, very large plants. If you go down in the lower left, Stolle Machinery makes packaging machines. They make the whole line, anything to do with cans and, creating a can and being able to fill a can. If you take Vigor on the right-hand side, they manufacture and repair ships. So those can be a full spectrum of, ships from ferry boats, all the way up to military ships. So
yeah, definitely a wide range of customers doing different things with their industrial equipment manufacturing. Well, great. Thanks, Bob. And thank you for your time today and joining us. Please contact me if you have any further questions or want to learn more about how IFS and enterprise consulting can support your industrial equipment manufacturing company.
Great. Thanks, Jay.